Marjorie Taylor Greene just betrayed Donald Trump in a stunning move, and he is freaking out. With Congress possibly days away from forcing the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files, Trump has been calling Republicans behind the scenes and threatening them not to support it. But now, one of his most loyal MAGA allies is breaking the ranks, and it could blow this case wide open. So stick around to see how Marjorie's shocking move just turned Trump's world upside down, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. So, 2 weeks ago, Congress began calling in witnesses for their push to investigate Jeffrey Epstein. They've heard from politicians, lawyers, and many people associated with Donald Trump. But this week, they've been bringing in the victims of Jeffrey Epstein themselves. Now, all the interviews and testimony of these individuals is kept behind closed doors, so we don't know exactly what they said, but we do know that Democrats and Republicans have been freaking out since hearing their stories of abuse. And while Democrats have been pushing for the release of information this entire time, it is now the Republican reactions to this testimony that is scaring Donald Trump. Just yesterday, Nancy Mace, who never misses a chance to speak to the press, stormed past reporters after hearing Epstein's victim's testimony, visibly shaken and potentially in tears. Watch this. And while that clip is making the rounds online right now, there's one congresswoman not getting enough attention. And that is Republican Congresswoman Paulina Luna from Florida. You see, she came out from the hearing with Epstein's victims and immediately headed to the press, and what she said was absolutely shocking. Luna claimed that after she heard the horrible stories of Epstein's victims and learned about how many global elites they were sold to, she now thinks the federal government needs to be investigating Epstein for having worked as a spy, using his illegal activities to blackmail the rich and powerful.
The biggest thing that stands out to me is the victims themselves have stated that this is a lot bigger than I think anyone anticipated. We are obviously going to be requesting the SARS reports from Treasury and also following up on that. There are some very rich and powerful people that need to go to jail. I think everyone's been frustrated as to why that hasn't happened before. But it is very much so a possibility that Jeffrey Epstein was an intelligence asset working for our adversaries. But also, too, I think the questions that we have is how much did our own government know about it? And so there's more to follow, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from the chairman momentarily. But I do applaud the victims from coming forward, because we heard from a woman who was as young as 14 years old when she was victimized multiple times by Jeffrey Epstein. So that's hard to hear.
This is insane. Just weeks ago, Republicans in Congress were doing their best to help Trump hide this case away, and now today, some like Luna are saying that the government needs to revive this whole investigation. Now, what Congress will do with all the testimony they're gathering is not clear, but while these Epstein hearings continue, another group of congressmen are working on something much bigger. Representatives Ro Khanna, a Democrat, and Thomas Massie, a Republican, introduced a bill a few weeks ago to force Donald Trump to release every known document on Jeffrey Epstein. Congress has the power to keep the president in check, and Donald Trump knows this. At first, he tried to play it cool and ask Mike Johnson to shut this bill down. But now that it's gaining traction, Trump is freaking out. Democrats don't have a majority in Congress, so to pass this bill and push back against Donald Trump and Mike Johnson, they need 6 Republicans to support the bill. And you would think that after all that has occurred in this tragic case, the Republicans would be lining up to vote for the bill. But no, you would be wrong. After weeks of debate, only 4 Republicans have signed on to the bill, and Thomas Massie is starting to get really upset with his party. Just today at a press conference on Epstein, he had this to say to his fellow Republicans.
I think it's shameful that this has been called a hoax. Hopefully today we can clear that up. This is not a hoax. This is real. There are real survivors. There are real victims to this criminal enterprise. And the perpetrators are being protected because they're rich and powerful and political donors to the establishment here in Washington, D.C.
Massie is literally saying that the rich who lobby Congress are likely threatening the Republicans they supported not to vote for this bill. And it isn't just lobbyists and donors who are threatening Republicans. Massie later revealed that many Republicans, including the ones who support his bill, have told him that Donald Trump and his administration are calling Republicans in Congress and telling them that if they want to release the Epstein files, they will be considered an enemy of Donald Trump. That is seriously messed up.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's a strong effort from the White House. They are literally
calling it a hostile act to sign this discharge petition now. And I don't know if that's precedented in this country to have a president call legislators to say that they're engaged in a hostile act, particularly when the so-called hostile act is trying to get justice for people who've been victims of sex crimes.
Donald Trump is threatening war against his own party while they control Congress because he doesn't want the Epstein files to be released. And I gotta say, if Donald Trump is as innocent as he claims, then why is he threatening to go after anyone who supports this bill? To me, this is as good as a straight-up confession. And if these turn of events weren't shocking enough for just one day, there is one more part of this story that you will not believe. You see, the MAGA movement has been really good at bringing lesser-known politicians to the forefront of Congress. You don't need to have big donors and a lot of business connections if you have a strong populist movement like MAGA supporting you. And now, ironically, 3 of the loudest and craziest voices in the MAGA movement are actually supporting this bill that Donald Trump is so scared of. And the best part is, Trump can't threaten populist congressmen because their support comes from crazy voters, not big donors. Trump literally created a platform for populist politicians, and now it is these same politicians who might help take him down. Republican Thomas Massie is the co-author of the Epstein Files bill and one of the 4 Republicans who signed on, but who are the other 3? Representatives Nancy Mace, Lauren Boebert, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. 3 Republicans who spend their entire day in Congress attacking trans people, cutting Medicaid, and voting to make life in America as worse as possible, and now all 3 have turned on Donald Trump. Now, I don't support any of these people as politicians or really as people in general, but I guess a broken clock can still be right twice a day. All 3 of these MAGAs pulled a complete 180 on the Epstein Files case after hearing this shocking testimony from the victims this week. And not only are all 3 of them supporting the bill that could incriminate Donald Trump, they are actually speaking out against other Republicans who are too scared to do what's right.
Good morning. This is my 5th year in Congress, and this is the largest press conference that I've seen since I've been here. And this is because this is an issue that matters so much to Americans. This is an issue that doesn't have political boundaries. It's an issue that Republicans and Democrats should never fight about. As a matter of fact, it's such an important issue that it should bring us all together. It's grieved me to watch the arguments and debates take place among my colleagues and even the administration. I think this is something that was worth fighting for. You see, the women behind me are going to tell you stories that you've never heard before. These are unimaginable horrors that they've lived with for their entire lives since they were very, very young. But these are also similar stories that many children, teenagers, women, and even men are enduring nightmares right now as we speak. You see, these women have been fighting since the 1990s. I heard one woman tell us yesterday since 1996. And they have carried with them shame. But I want to tell you something. The shame does not fall on these brave, courageous women. The shame falls on every single person that coldly turned a blind eye to their abuse. The shame falls on every single person that enabled it. The shame falls on every single person that took money to continue it. And the shame falls on the people in power over the past several decades that protected the monster, Jeffrey Epstein, and his cabal that continued a nightmare. Those people deserve the shame. And today we are coming forward and we are going to fight like hell for these women, because we have to fight like hell for those that are enduring sexual abuse and are living in a prison of shame. Anyone that is being abused, it is not your fault. You should live with no guilt or fear or shame. All of the fault belongs to the evil people that do these things to the innocent. This is the most important fight we can wage here in Congress, is fighting for innocent people that never receive justice. And the women behind me have never received justice. And do you want to know why? It's because Jeffrey Epstein somehow was able to walk among the most rich, powerful people, not only in America, but foreign countries. Yesterday, I heard countries like Saudi Arabia, Russia, and even Israel, and other countries. The truth needs to come out, and the government holds the truth. The cases that are sealed hold the truth. Jeffrey Epstein's estate holds the truth. The FBI, the DOJ, and the CIA holds the truth. And the truth we are demanding come out on behalf of these women, but also as a strong message to every innocent child, teenager, woman, and man that is being held captive in abuse. This should never happen in America, and it should never be a political issue that divides us. And I want to thank Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie for doing something brave, crossing political boundaries for a very important fight. And I'm honored to join both of them. And I'm honored that Nancy Mace and Lauren Boebert signed the discharge petition along with myself. And I asked my Republican colleagues not to choose just one path for justice and transparency and accountability, but I asked my Republican colleagues to choose every path for justice and accountability and transparency. And with that, I'd like to bring back Congressman Ro Khanna to start this important press conference. Thank you very much.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but those were some powerful words from Marjorie Taylor Greene. After threats from the president himself, Greene went out to a crowd of reporters, survivors, and people protesting against Donald Trump, and she not only stood up for what was right, but is even calling out her own party for not standing with her. The battle over the Epstein files has a potential to rip the Republican Party apart, and ironically, it is the populist, rowdy, and MAGA hat-wearing representatives who seem to be breaking first. Now, those are all the major developments from today, but this fight in Congress is only just beginning, so if you want to keep getting updates like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more.